Alright, this is Ubaid on behalf of V-Electronics, and in this video we'll be talking about independent and dependent events. Okay, so let me write this down over here. This is independent and dependent events. Now, in terms of probabilities, in terms of statistics, okay, independent events are events that are independent of each other. Okay, so in the last couple of videos, we've been talking about how B has to happen for A to happen. So in this case, B does not have to happen if A is to happen. Okay, so B is independent of A is independent of B. So events A and B are independent of each other. Okay, this is independent of each other. All right, so say for example, if you were to take these 2 points, okay, and let's say if you were to figure out if they're independent or dependent, okay, you will need to come up with one out of three conditions. Okay, which means if one out of three conditions are true, okay, then these two events are independent. Okay, and what are these conditions, you may ask? Well, the first one over here, okay, this will be P A conditional B. And this basically means that for A to happen, B has to occur. B has to happen. So event B has to happen for event A to happen. Okay, so if this is your basketball event, and if this is your soccer event, okay, the basketball game has to be played before the soccer game can be played. Okay, that's what this means. All right, so this will be PA conditional B. Okay, this will be equal to PA. Okay, sort of like function of A. Now, what is PA, you may ask? So PA, okay, we talked about okay, the possibilities and probability in the past couple of videos, where for PA, okay, let's say event B has three numbers, so three possible outcomes, let's say 1, 2, and 3. And event A has two outcomes, so let's say 4 and 5. Okay, this will be written as 2 over 6 because you have two outcomes over here, a total of 6 outcomes, okay, for event A and B. So this will be 1/3 or 1 over 3. Okay, that will be PA. The other condition, and it could be either one of these two conditions for these two events to be independent. The other condition is PB conditional to PA. So PB conditional to A equals PB. All right, and this basically means that for these two events to be independent, okay, where A has to happen before B can happen, okay, PB conditional A, these two conditional events should be equal to P at B. Okay, and what is P at B? So we talked about 6 numbers over here. This is for event A. This is for event B. Event B has 3 possible outcomes in the sample space. Okay, so this is 3 out of a total of 6. So this will be, okay, 1/2. So PB will be 1/2, which means PB conditional A should be equal to 1/2. All right, and the third condition, okay, for these two events, event A and event B, to be independent, okay, is P A and B, A and B equals PA into PB. All right, which basically means that PA and B, PA and B has to do with A intersection B. Okay, and if we know anything about intersection, this has to do with, okay, events that repeat, okay, in both the cases, events that repeat, okay, or numbers that repeat in both the events. So if you were to take A, for example, you have 1, 2, and 3. If 3 was to repeat in event B as well, where event B is 3, 4, and 5, number 3 would be A intersection B. Okay, because this event shows up in, well, this number shows up in both events. So this will be number 3. And this has to do with P, A, and B. Okay, the number shows up in both A and B, event A and event B. So P, A, and B equals P at A, which is 1/3. It should be 1/3, for example. This is an example. This could be another number. So 1/3 into 1/2. All right, so this is equal to 1/6, for example. All right, so this is how this works. So if either one of these three conditions are met, these two events are considered independent. If none of these three conditions are met, they are dependent, which means that either A has to happen before B can happen, or B has to happen before A can happen. Okay, that would be it for this video. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Ubayd. Have yourself a great day.